We have all seen the videos. An Aikido master stands calmly. An attacker lunges with a choreographed strike. The master turns, a blur of motion and white fabric. The attacker is suddenly airborne, landing softly on the mat. It is a beautiful display of physics and grace. This is the promise of Aikido. It is the idea that one can blend with an attack. It suggests you can redirect violence without creating more. This is the concept of flow. It captivates thousands of people. It fills dojos with students seeking a peaceful path to self-defense. They believe this flowing art will protect them. The problem starts when the mat ends. The real world is not a dojo. A real assault is not a demonstration. A recent security camera clip shows this truth. A man, confronted aggressively, attempts a classic Aikido wrist lock. It is a move called kotegaishi. In the dojo, it ends with a clean throw. On the cold pavement, it does not. The attacker does not cooperate. He does not know the rules of the technique. He simply resists. He shoves his weight forward, breaking the defender's posture and balance completely. The Aikido practitioner falls backward, his head hitting the concrete. The fight is over for him. This single brutal moment forces a hard question. Can a martial art built on the principle of harmonious flow truly save you from unharmonious violence? Can a system that relies on redirecting an opponent's energy work when that energy is chaotic, explosive, and utterly non-compliant? The footage from countless street altercations suggests a grim answer. The poetry of the dojo often dissolves into a messy, painful reality. We must look at why this happens. We must be blunt. We must be honest. Your safety depends on separating the art from the application. This is not an attack on Aikido as a discipline. It is an honest critique of its use as a primary self-defense system in the modern world. The art teaches valuable lessons about balance, posture, movement. These are good things. But when a system is marketed, either directly or indirectly, as a solution for real violence, it must be held to a real standard. Aikido techniques are heavily dependent on precise timing. The foundational concept is to enter and blend with an attack at the exact moment it is committed but before its full force has landed. This is the Aiki principle. You are supposed to join with the attacker's momentum and redirect it. Imagine catching a baseball. You pull your hand back as the ball makes contact. You absorb and redirect the energy. Aikido applies this principle to a human body. It is a beautiful theory of physics. And it requires you to be at the right place at the right time with the right posture. In a real fight, this perfect timing is incredibly difficult to achieve. A real attack is not a single linear motion. It is often a chaotic storm of movements. An attacker might feint with one hand and punch with the other. They might shove you to disrupt your balance before they even strike. The timing window for a perfect Aikido entry is infinitesimally small. If you are a fraction of a second too early, the attacker can adjust. If you are a fraction of a second too late, you absorb the full impact of the blow. The physics works on paper, but the chaos of violence makes the application a gamble. Compliance is the other critical variable that fails. Many Aikido techniques, especially joint locks throws, require the attacker's body to move in a specific way. For a wrist lock like Nikkyo Sankyo to work, the attacker's arm must be in a certain position and their body must react to the pain by moving. A determined or pain-tolerant attacker will simply not comply. They will power through the discomfort. They might pull their arm back violently, breaking your grip and posture. They might use their other hand to punch you in the face while you are focused on the lock. Consider the physical structure. An Aikido practitioner attempts to control an entire person by manipulating a small joint like the wrist elbow. This is a battle of leverage. But the attacker has their entire body weight, their core strength, and their other limbs to use against your grip. Unless your technique is applied with flawless timing and overwhelming structural advantage, the attacker's raw strength and resistance can easily overpower the lock. When you are suddenly and violently attacked, your body does not ask for permission. It reacts. An ancient survival mechanism kicks in, flooding your system with adrenaline and other stress hormones. This is the fight or flight response. Your heart rate skyrockets. Your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. Blood is diverted from your extremities. Blood is diverted from your digestive system to your large muscle groups. Your pupils dilate. Your vision narrows into a tunnel, focusing only on the immediate threat. This is a state of profound physiological shock. It is designed for one thing: survival through simple, gross motor action. This adrenaline dump has a catastrophic effect on fine motor skills. The intricate, delicate movements required for many Aikido techniques become nearly impossible to perform. Think about trying to thread a needle while someone is screaming in your face. It is the same principle, but with life or death stakes. The precise wrist grabs, the subtle shifts in balance, the complex hand positions needed for a lock. These are all fine motor skills. A core issue in many traditional Aikido dojos is the limited nature of the technical toolbox. The art is philosophically and technically centered on joint locks, throws, pins. The primary goal is to control and neutralize an attacker without causing serious injury. This is a noble ideal. However, it leads to a curriculum that often lacks effective striking and a strategy for fighting on the ground. This is not a small omission. It is a gaping hole in a student's defensive capabilities, leaving them unprepared for the most common forms of violence. Striking is the fastest way to stop an immediate threat. A hard palm strike to the nose, a punch to the jaw, or a finger jab to the eye can create space. It can stun an attacker, giving you a precious second to escape or to improve your position. Strikes are a preemptive defense. They can interrupt an attacker's plan before they can even get a grip on you. Most Aikido training, however, treats strikes as stylized, committed lunges that are simply a setup for a throw. There is little to no training on how to deliver fast, effective combinations of your own, or how to defend against a flurry of real, non-telegraphed punches. The second major gap is groundwork. A huge percentage of real fights end up on the ground. Kyle, it would be dishonest to claim that Aikido techniques have zero value. There are specific, limited situations where the principles of blending and redirection can be effective. The key is understanding the context. Aikido's flow works best in low-level confrontations, where the opponent is not fully committed to causing you grievous harm. These are situations that hover between social conflict and physical violence. Think of an unwanted touch, a drunken shove in a crowded bar, someone grabbing your arm to get your attention aggressively. In these moments, a violent response might be an overreaction. In such a scenario, a simple Aikido-based technique can work beautifully. If someone grabs your wrist, a subtle turn and a gentle wrist lock can break their grip and create space without escalating the situation. If someone pushes you instead of pushing back and starting a shoving match, you can use the principle of tenkan, turning to step aside and guide their momentum past you. They stumble forward, their aggression is diffused, and you have avoided a direct conflict. In these cases, the opponent is often surprised and not prepared for a skilled response, making them more compliant with the technique. The principles also have value for law enforcement and security professionals. When we look at systems designed explicitly for the brutal reality of violence, a different picture emerges. Systems like Krav Maga modern combatives taught to soldiers and reality-based self-defense programs, they assume the attacker is bigger, stronger, and not alone. They assume the environment is dangerous and chaotic. They assume you are surprised and already at a disadvantage. Their entire curriculum is built backward from these worst-case scenarios. The result is a methodology that looks very different from the flowing art of Aikido. The first principle of these systems is overwhelming preemptive violence. The goal is not to blend or harmonize. The goal is to shut the attacker down as quickly and efficiently as possible. This means an emphasis on explosive, gross motor strikes to vulnerable targets. Palm heels to the chin elbows, to the temple knees, to the groin kicks to the shins. These are not elegant techniques. They are designed to cause immediate pain and dysfunction, creating a window for escape. The motto is often attack the attacker. The second principle is stress inoculation. Training is not calm or quiet. Drills are performed under simulated stress. Instructors yell, loud music blares. Students are tired and out of breath. For the dedicated Aikido student who wants to make their art more practical for self-defense, the answer is not to abandon it. The answer is to supplement it. You must be willing to honestly assess the gaps in your training and actively seek out skills to fill them. You can keep the core of your Aikido practice, the balance, the movement, the philosophy, while forging it into a harder, more resilient tool. This requires humility and a willingness to step outside the comfort of your home dojo. It is about adding, not replacing. Checklist: add striking, train ground survival, stress test, checked. First, you must add striking. Find a boxing gym. Find a Muay Thai gym. Find a Krav Maga gym. Learn how to make a proper fist. Learn how to punch. Learn how to throw a hard, fast elbow. Learn how to throw a knee. Practice hitting a heavy bag. Learn how to move your head and block a punch. You do not need to become a competitive fighter. You just need to become comfortable with the dynamics of striking. This skill alone will revolutionize your ability to create space and interrupt an attack, giving you the time needed to escape or apply a control technique from a better position. Second, you must address the ground. Go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. Go to a wrestling class. Spend time on your back with a resisting opponent on top of you. Learn the feeling of being crushed and how to manage that pressure. Practice the fundamental get-up technique, learning how to stand up safely without getting kicked or tackled again. Learn a few basic escapes from the most common bad positions, like the mount-side control. Third, you must pressure test everything. Practice with partners who are not giving you the correct reaction. Have them try to punch you while you attempt a lock. Start your drills from a position of disadvantage, with your eyes closed or after doing burpees until you are exhausted. The conclusion is unavoidable and must be stated plainly. Aikido, in its most common form, is not a reliable system for self-defense against a determined, violent assailant. Its reliance on flow, precise timing, and opponent compliance creates a beautiful art form, but a fragile defensive strategy. The chaotic physics of a real assault combined with the physiological hijacking caused by adrenaline means those intricate techniques are likely to fail when needed most. Relying solely on flowing Aikido principles for personal safety is a dangerous gamble. The evidence from real-world encounters is too stark to ignore. This is not a call to burn your GI and abandon your dojo. The path of Aikido offers many benefits. Physical fitness discipline, balance a community of dedicated practitioners. These are worthy pursuits. The call instead is for honesty. Students and instructors must be honest about what they are training for. If the goal is art, personal development, or cultural preservation, then Aikido is a wonderful path. But if the goal is effective self-preservation in the face of modern violence, then the training must evolve. It must embrace a harsher reality. The path forward requires humility. It requires the willingness to admit that your art does not have all the answers. It demands that you cross-train. Add the striking of boxing or Muay Thai. Add the ground survival skills of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Add the stress-testing methodologies of modern combatives. Take the beautiful core of Aikido, its powerful principles of movement and balance, and surround it with a shell of hard, simple, and effective techniques. Forge your art in the fire of realistic, non-compliant training. Let go of the dojo dream and prepare for the street nightmare. Ultimately, your safety is your own responsibility. Do not subcontract it to a single style or a single instructor. Ask the hard questions. Test your skills against resistance. Seek out knowledge from different sources. The most beautiful flow is the one that allows you to move seamlessly from a dangerous situation back to safety. True mastery is not executing a perfect throw on a compliant partner. It is having the tools, the training, and the mindset to survive a real attack and make it home to your family. Train hard, train smart, and stay safe. Thanks. As we are rapidly moving towards our next goal of 500 subscribers. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. This will allow more martial arts enthusiasts to view and support the channel. For more, select a video on your screen and we will see you there.